Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Aquí tienen el horario para hoy, miércoles el 16 de octubre. Learning target for today is to greet people and say goodbye in Spanish. A bit of review of the vocabulary and expressions that we looked at in our introductory chapter at the beginning of the academic year. Warm-up question for today: ¿Quién vas a honrar para el Día de los Muertos y por qué? Who are you going to honor, to celebrate for the Day of the Dead, and why? If you may recall, we did a presentation last class covering the Day of the Dead and what it is all about. A ver, let's go ahead and pull that slideshow up. Actually, not necessary to present it. You can do it this way. Talked about how el Día de los Muertos se celebra el primer y el segundo día de noviembre, so it's on November 1st and 2nd. How it is originally a tradition from Mexico, but is celebrated in many other Spanish-speaking countries as well, certainly in the United States, amongst the Mexican-American population. Families celebrate the Day of the Dead to honor and remember their ancestors. That's the intent of the Day of the Dead, and how for your project, which we'll talk about here in just a moment, it is to create and decorate an offering, what we call in Spanish una ofrenda, an altar where people put special objects remembering those who have passed away. Could include candles, flowers, skulls, papel picado, which is a decorative tissue paper, and any pictures of those that have passed. It could also include their favorite food and drink. Sugar skulls are also very commonly used to decorate the ofrenda. So too is pan de muerto, or bread of the dead. That is often consumed for the Day of the Dead. And then in terms of traditions, visiting the grave sites of those who have passed, bringing flowers and candles to decorate those grave sites. So this is what we had talked about last class. In your warm-up question, ¿A quién vas a honrar para el Día de los Muertos? Who are you thinking of honoring, and why? And while we're talking about Day of the Dead, we'll go ahead and discuss the project itself. A gentle reminder that this project is due. Let me pull up the rubric here instead. It's not loading in Canvas, no worries. There we are. So for you guys, the project is due on A-Day. For A-Day classes, October 30th. For B-Day classes, October 31st. And in recognition of the Day of the Dead, you are to select a member of your family who's no longer with us and create an ofrenda, a memorial in celebration of their life. You can choose multiple people. Don't need to do just one. You can choose a family member or members, or you can do a family friend or friends, a pet, or pets. Could even be an idol or a mentor in your life, someone you never had the opportunity to meet, but still has had an impact, a great impact in your life. Your presentation that you're not going to present to the entire class. It's really just the memorial itself, in which you are going to decorate it with 5 ofrendas, 5 offerings. Those offerings can include pictures, letters, flowers, food that's non-perishable, drink that's non-alcoholic, candles, and for a lot of people, they end up using a lot of personal memorabilia, clothing, glasses, keychains, anything, and even pictures of personal memorabilia as well, jewelry, etc. For each of your 5 offerings, you're going to write a 5-sentence description in English explaining why you chose that item and how or why it was important to them, how it reminds you of that person, what stories do those items invoke. 5-sentence description for each of your 5 chosen offerings. Again, due date is Wednesday, October 30th, Thursday, October 31st, and what you'll do on the day that it's due is bring it in, put it on display on your desk, and again, it could be a physical ofrenda, like the ones that you see throughout class on the shelving on either side of the room and at the very back. So you can certainly look at those for inspiration. It could be a poster, it could be a PowerPoint or a Google slide presentation. You can even create a video if you so choose. Whatever it is, you're going to make it available for people to view and observe. And we'll do a gallery walk and write some affirmations, some positive words, what we learned about you, what we enjoyed about the memorials you created for those that are special in your life. If for whatever reason, whether it's religious reasons, emotional reasons, cultural reasons, or any combination thereof, even though this isn't a religious holiday and a religious practice, I respect the fact that for some of you, you may not be comfortable doing this assignment, and that's certainly okay. As an alternative, you may write a 5-paragraph reflection. That's 5 complete sentences per paragraph in English, describing how you recognize or celebrate those that have passed in your culture, in your family, in your religion, you personally. Essentially, dedicate a paragraph to the 5 guiding questions. Who do you celebrate the dead with? A paragraph dedicated to that. Where do you celebrate the dead? Particular location or locations, dedicate a paragraph to that. Who, where, when, time of year do you celebrate? Time of day. Who, when, where, what do you do to celebrate? Customs, traditions, and then why. What does it afford you emotionally? How does the experience, how do you benefit from the experience? Whatever traditions you follow. So that 5-paragraph reflection certainly doesn't need to be shared with the group, although you're welcome to do that if you'd like. That can be submitted to me directly in Canvas. So that is your assignment for Dia de los Muertos. And again, that is due in a couple weeks. For the rest of today, we are going to go over new vocabulary for Chapter 1, beginning Chapter 1, which can be found on pages 26 and 27. We'll go over the goals of the lesson. Really is to continue the conversations we were having at the beginning of the academic year, getting to know people, introducing yourself, saying goodbye, and becoming familiar with objects and people. That's going to be our vocabulary. Various objects and people in a school setting. We'll do a review of numbers and telling time, describing classmates and classroom objects, and then being able to interview one another to find out basic information. So we'll be working on pages 28 and 29. I'll give you guys a handout that provides you with all the key vocabulary for this chapter. You can also find that handout here. I'll put a hyperlink there so you guys can be able to access it for those of you at home. So going over the key vocabulary, seeing how that vocabulary is used in a variety of conversations, 5 of them, and then doing some listening practice, exercises 1 and 2, choosing as to whether or not the responses provided are appropriate responses to greetings, to name, gratitude, nice to meet you, how are you, those expressions that we began to look at the beginning of the academic year. Listening practice 1 and 2, and then written practice 3 and 4. No homework due next class, just to continue working on your Dia de los Muertos project.